John, thanks very much indeed for talking to us. So, does it look like UK's trade with some of these countries will indeed default to World Trade Organization rules here? Is that what we're basically looking at?
I think in the short term, Devon, that's right. Ultimately, if the UK hasn't managed to negotiate deals with those countries that benefit from existing tariff and trade preferences with the EU, the default position becomes trading on WTO terms. That implies potentially increased costs, increased burdens on both importers and exporters as the prices of doing business rise.
And I would imagine, just to put some perspective on that, for us with the UK would have to pay duties on auto products or agricultural goods like fruit and wine. I mean, that has business implications, doesn't it?
Clearly has business implications. If I look at it purely from a personal perspective, I'll have some decisions to make. Am I going to pay 10% extra for the kids' seedless red grapes from South Africa, or am I going to look for alternatives? Am I going to stop off and pay 13.5% extra for my glass of Stellenbosch Pinotage on the way home, or am I going to seek alternatives? For business and industry, you're entirely right. In the short term, there are some important decisions to be made as to whether they pay the increased tariffs that come with trading on WTO terms, or whether they seek alternatives with respect to their supply chains.
What's the move likely to happen next now? We've seen what happened in Parliament an hour ago. The deal once again rejected. Theresa May in a bit of a position. There's confusion there. I mean, is there even energy enough to go back to the drawing board with all these trade agreements and do something about it?
Well, I think all eyes turn to the crucial vote tomorrow. Now, ultimately, there are two outcomes to that. Either the UK departs on the 29th without a deal, at which point there will be increasing political pressure on the UK to conclude deals with its trading partners, in effect to roll over the existing trade deals that the EU enjoys by virtue of being an EU member. The alternative outcome to tomorrow is that we kick the can down the road even further, i.e. that there is an extension to the negotiations, and obviously during that extension period, UK and its trading partners will continue to benefit from those EU trade deals.
Yeah. John, before you go, just one quick question. Earlier in one of your pieces, you mentioned implications for banks and banking relationships. I mean, that's got to be of concern here. We're dealing with a lot of money.
Indeed, there are going to be concerns both from a goods perspective and a services perspective. My sense is that all of those benefits that UK banking relationships would have had with regards to commercial presence and establishment, with regards to cross-border transaction, which is obviously crucial in a banking sense, will be put in jeopardy because the legal basis for those deals and those relationships, i.e. the agreement that the EU has with the Southern African Development Community, will no longer cease to apply to the UK.
All right, we're going to leave it there. John Forrest, Head of International Trade at DLA Piper. Thanks indeed.